What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
So happy to see you guys.
Yes, indeed.
And welcome to another episode of Can't Afford Therapy podcast. I'm terrible at introing this, and I'm okay with that, actually. I like it. I like these like dry openings where it's just us talking and me seeing you guys' faces and the judgment that's burning onto me.
No judgment here,
Because
brother.
I don't got the radio vibes. But yeah, here we are for another one. How are y'all today? How are y'all feeling?
I'm doing all right.
Good?
I cannot complain.
Do we want to use the feelings wheel?
We will.
No, for sure. But I was just trying to give it a little recap
I
before
didn't
we
know.
got to the wheel. I was just going to really tell you how I really
I
felt.
just can't ask you how.
Like, I didn't want the wheel to tell me how I feel. I wanted to tell you how I felt.
say less,
So,
King.
You get what I'm saying? So I feel good, man.
Feel
I
good.
appreciate you asking. You know, great energy in the building. Antionette, you know.
I don't have great energy.
Nah, your energy's
Can you
always
tell?
great.
Oh,
Always
okay,
great,
cool. Yeah.
I think so. You know, I feel like y'all are silly.
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
been, if I'm being honest, it's been a long couple of days for me. But
sure.
I'm so happy to be here with y'all.
I don't really think you
I
are.
know.
I don't think she's
you are
happy to
this
be
time.
I
here.
am.
Not this time.
I
The last
swear
time
to
you said it, I
God.
was like, yeah, I feel that.
No,
this
I-
time,
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
I
Me
am-
and you felt the same thing in that moment.
No, for all the listeners.
Embute. As
No,
in-
for all the listeners, they mess with me for it's 51
don't do
minutes
that.
we've
Don't
been
do
in
that.
here.
Don't put your hive on us.
I know she weaponized
you
that.
Don't
You
do
see
that,
that?
bro. Don't do that because we see the comments.
They've been messing with me, y'all. Everybody wants to talk about how
No.
supportive they are. They was messing with me when I got in
See,
here.
we not gonna do that because you, my friend, have a vicious hive.
No, I don't.
You have a vicious
I don't have a
supportive
hive.
You do. You have a support group, right? And so for you,
Support group is fucking hilarious.
legit. Those are the niggas in the comments, obviously. And that's your support group, and I love them.
Yeah, we
But
do.
but if we're being honest,
Get them, y'all.
Josh, they can turn on us very
They
quickly.
turn
can.
on me all the
You
time.
get what I'm saying?
They
so
can.
please
I've
be
seen
very,
some of them reviews.
be responsible with what you got going on with your peoples, man. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all, man.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get to the feelings, Will.
Let's do it.
Because we obviously got some feelings.
Yes.
Let me go first. What am I feeling today?
I could guess.
Guess?
Yeah,
Let me,
yeah,
like,
you
get-
feeling
get-
grateful.
I'm always feeling grateful,
You
kid.
feeling grateful.
I'm always feeling grateful. This is true. I feel extremely grateful. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be here with you guys to talk about some fun stuff today. I'm feeling hurt
Oh my God.
because I hurt Antoinette like she expressed. We were getting on her today, and now I feel bad. I feel guilty.
It hurt me. Got me fucked up.
And now I feel humiliated. Here you go.
All right. I don't even know how I feel because I really want to punch y'all. Like y'all feel like brothers to me at this point where old me would have just socked you right in your fucking chest. But new me is just trying to look on this fucking pillow and see what it is. I do feel overwhelmed. That's not new. Oh no. You're always grateful. And I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed though. I've got a lot of
Oh,
stuff going
shit.
on at home. And
Rightfully.
I drove up from Philly to come record with y'all, and then y'all was being smartasses when we first started. So here we are. But I am absolutely feeling playful.
Good word.
And I am feeling grateful. Goddamn it, I'm feeling grateful to be in this space with y'all. For us to have this feelings wheel, we don't use many varying words.
Yeah.
So
I used a bunch of words I haven't used that were all negative.
I need to do better. I think I get nervous. I think you said that before, right? SaVon, I get nervous and I don't see one word on this pillow. I just be like, yeah. So nervous as well. Okay.
One of the things I tried to implement in pre-pro
I know I need to
was,
do that.
hey,
Let's
we
sit-
should all just find our word before the mics
Yes.
come on. And y'all kind of ridiculed me a little
Season
bit.
two,
There was a
we'll
little
do
bit
that.
of judgment. A little
No.
bit of judgment. I feel energetic. I don't know if that's on this feelings wheel, but I definitely have some extra pep in my step today.
Okay.
I also feel, I don't want to say awful. I don't like
Oh.
that. That was the word that came up. But I do feel guilt and shame.
Okay.
Those are the two words.
Good.
He's
Those are the two words, guilt and shame.
yo,
I'm
Antoinette.
playing.
Because I let y'all down.
No, you
And we
didn't
ain't
let
gonna
us
talk
down.
about it on air. y'all could check out the next episode. Maybe I'll reveal.
No, we had an
why.
accountability moment.
No,
and
for
that was
sure.
good.
Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
you know, this is a part of the feelings wheel. So I definitely feel, you know, I feel bad about that.
Okay.
Family.
Yeah, especially,
appreciate
you know,
that.
Josh expressed, like, this is why I feel how I feel. You're really good at that.
Oh, thank
really
you.
fucking good at that. And
Thank you.
I'm afraid because that's a dangerous power to have as a man
What?
to get that off.
Oh,
To say this is how I feel and then make another man feel bad. I should have been like, yo, nigga, all right. But I really did feel bad. Like, I
Oh.
identified with what he said.
Did you feel anything when I
always
spoke?
feel everything.
Let's make it about me, please.
Everything.
Feed my ego.
You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, those are my
I heard
three.
it after I said it. It was like, whoa.
it's only
Clinical insanity.
there's only an emphasis on me because it's an anomaly.
I know. I just whatever. SaVon really
I was about to be like, what did I do?
you do something to SaVon. SaVon has a lot of respect for you. I'm
do.
still working at it.
I do.
Still trying to get
I have
it.
a lot of respect for both of you.
I know.
It's just different over here.
It
so.
doesn't read like he doesn't have any respect for you.
No,
or
he has respect
less.
for me, but he looks up to you. Like, whoa.
I wouldn't say that.
I respect him.
Yeah.
SaVon was like, too far.
Yeah.
Let's get into the episode.
I'm still
But she's trying to emasculate you.
Yeah,
on
like,
your-
wait,
No,
hold on.
that
Gotta
to
hold on
look
to my
up to
manhood.
somebody is emasculating.
No, it's
No.
See.
when you're in their presence to say that.
There are certain
Really?
aspects of Josh that I do admire and I do strive to like.
You've
obtain
said that before.
I have.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay.
no shame in that. No
No,
shame in that.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's a
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
thing.
Y'all both inspire me.
This
He
is-
was like, that girl crazy. I don't know. I respect her. Keep trying.
no, not at all. Anthony.
There's a difference between respect
have
and fear. Just
infinite love for you.
Oh.
And no, like seriously, I do admire like how
Oh,
you
that
carry
was sweet.
your emotions and your feelings. Like I've learned a lot from you in a short amount of time.
Oh.
Yeah, my interactions with people are different, not just like women. It's like people because of you.
y'all gotta
Oh
get the
my
Patreon for
God.
this.
Yeah.
We're holding hands.
You're holding
They
hands.
are.
His hands are so cold
This
too.
is
I
so
want to give you a
beautiful.
blanket.
Thank you.
He holding your hand because his hands is cold. He was trying to get
Poor
some warmth.
baby.
He was
I'm concerned.
Yeah,
that was
That's all.
beautiful.
Thank you for
Aw.
that, SaVon. Wow.
absolutely, no problem.
He trying to change what he had did earlier, but it's working.
No, I accept
It's
it.
working.
Yeah. Let's get to what we're talking about today.
Let's do
This
it.
was a nice opening. This is sweet. I like this. Made me feel warm and fuzzy. So, what I had brought to the table today to talk about was the C word, commitment.
Mm.
Right? What were y'all
Word.
thinking?
There was a lot
Nothing.
of C words that came to mind.
Is the C word is commitment. So the idea behind it is, as both of you know, and maybe some of the listeners know, I recently was on the newest season of Couples Therapy, or
Oh.
part 2 of the newest season of
What's couples
Therapy.
therapy?
Couples Therapy is a show on Showtime, and it is exactly what it's called. It's couples therapy. Me and my fiance were one of the couples that were featured going through live couples therapy sessions. And we had months of couples therapy, and they edited that down to approximately 15 minutes of footage, and the whole world watched it. So,
Wow.
yeah. But it inspired something. And I haven't spoken about it on the podcast yet because I didn't want to, it felt weird for me to like pimp out those very vulnerable moments, but it inspired the topic that we're talking about today, which is the idea of commitment and what that actually means. I feel like we have this idea of what commitment is, and I would love to hear like what immediately is elicited from you guys the moment you hear that word, and then I kind of want to share what it means to me and why that word drove me to actually being willing to go on that show. So,
SaVon first.
SaVon.
I think when I hear commitment, I think there's and you're not supposed to use the root word in a definition. So I can't say I feel committed, right? But I do believe that it's an unwavering
Mm.
dedication to a cause,
Yeah.
for a greater good, right? I'm committed to showing up to the pod. I'm committed to my friends or whatever the commitment is. I think that is what I said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that.
I like that.
Commitment in like interpersonal relationships for me looks like, I'll take SaVon's word, a dedication. It also looks like I guess when I'm committed to someone or something, even, it's that I'm coming forth with my best self as best as I can and asking the other person to do the same, or that and creating an environment where they're able to do that, like a safe space where they're able to do that. Um, Commitment has shifted for me a little bit, the definition, where it is not, it, I guess it's unwavering in the sense of like, I can always, especially with interpersonal relationships, I can humanize someone. I can vow to be like, yo, I will show up for you, but not if it hinders me. And so I think in the past, my level of commitment was very much like, I'm riding and dying.
Yeah, unconditional.
It was very unconditional. And it's not to say, I, even if I can love someone from afar, I can root for them, I could pray for them, but the commitment might need to look different. And so that was something that I needed to learn with it, was that there were different levels of commitment and different ways to exercise commitment and show up as a committed partner, friend, etc., family member.
Yeah. You know, it both of what you guys said kind of resonates with me in the way that I look at commitment. But I through going on that show, and we can speak more about that, but just committing to the idea of couples therapy, it gave me a sense of depth for what that word really means that didn't exist prior to it. And I want to use a phrase that I heard actually from my fiance had told me something that her grandfather had once said to her. And it was, people don't fix things anymore. They throw it away and get something new.
Mm.
And to me, that after, in retrospect from that, I learned that's what commitment is. Commitment is being willing to work through the trouble, being willing to fix something when you see that there is something to be redeemed or to be fixed, and to be committed to that and patient. And as long as it's within your stated boundaries, that don't give up on whatever it is that you chose to commit to, whether that be like right now, I'm committed to school, and I was talking earlier about it with our editor, Chris, where I was saying I'm committed to that, but I have to do things to remind myself of that commitment. Or whether it be in a romantic relationship, like with my partner, we were having really difficult intimacy issues, and a lot of men would have said, leave. What are you doing?
Or cheat.
Or cheat. Both of which are like you're just throwing it away. You're throwing away the relationship. You're throwing away the commitment you made to this person because you think it's easier to just run away from the problem. And I think that it gave me a depth of really truly understanding what commitment means, because it's, even if it's really hard and it bruises your ego and you have to learn how to shift your perspective, you have to be committed to somebody and to stick with that. And that's, to me, what commitment is to stick through what, as long as it doesn't violate whatever your stated boundaries are, whether that be adultery, whether that be extreme disrespect, violence, whatever your boundary is, whatever it is that you say, hey, don't cross this line. As long as you don't cross this line, I'm here with you. That's what commitment is to me, is to see things through and to do the work and to give grace to the people you love and the things you love to meet you, or for you to meet them where you hope to achieve to be.
I think that last caveat that you made is really important.
Yeah.
Because I know for a lot of, especially Black women listening to this, they would, before that caveat, they'd be like, listen, again, with this ride or die, you got to stick with it, stick through it, because I think a lot of the narrative and a lot of the lived experience of especially older Black women have been that they have stuck through, they've stood by their man, their woman, whatever, their partner, and it has been at their expense. And I think it's difficult in this day and age to figure out what that balance is when you decide, okay, enough is enough. This is at my expense. I do actually need to love you from afar and walk away and love myself more, because we are in a place where it's, everybody's like, I deserve X, Y, and Z. I deserve luxury and
A soft life.
a soft life. And I'm not saying that we don't, right? But it doesn't mean that everything's always going to be comfortable and happy and perfect all the time. And I think, like, I agree with you, a lot of people don't remember that. And maybe even including myself. I don't think so though, but maybe I I see it so much, even with work, you
Yeah.
know, even in it just as people start to say, you know what, I need to honor my feelings and honor how I feel, that, you know, people are like, oh, I actually, I have to have my boundary. I can't work late, or I have to, and ever. And I am somebody who needs to figure out the balance of, you know, having more boundaries with folks and with obligations. But that balance is really critical. And I think that the scale has tipped so far in the other direction that we are absolutely throwing things, opportunities, people away because for that split moment, it wasn't perfect and it didn't look like Instagram. And I can swipe. So many other things are accessible to me. I can just go.
Mm.
And it's dehumanizing. And I also think it's not giving us the critical skills needed to problem solve, to stand and sit with somebody on a couch with the guidance of a professional and say, help us see each other, help me see myself. It's a really beautiful thing that you've done. And from my understanding, you're the person that wanted to work with that therapist. That was the only reason why you went on the show, is because you reached out to work with the therapist and they were like, you got to come on the show. And you were like,
Something
okay.
like that. Yeah.
So like, it just shows that, you know, I know that you probably have a lot of options available to you. And I don't want it to not be celebrated that you are deeply rooted in who you love, in your family, and you're like, fuck them options. I want this. And I honor this. And that's just a really beautiful thing. So
Going back to me looking up to him in some regards, that's one of the things that I admire.
I know you said that.
Because, you know, like you said, everybody is super accessible. You know, me being so far removed from where Josh is, like, I don't have a wife or fiance or family or home. You know, I'm in a completely different direction. I think I see it a little bit differently. But I think it goes back to one of our previous episodes of the shadow work, where you were able to guide me to the feeling, the shadow that has been cast upon me, which was feeling disposable. And I think a lot of that stems from people not being committed to a friendship, right? I think the worst pain I've ever felt was failed friendships, not even a relationship. But it kind of correlates because it still leaves you with that same feeling of, damn, we couldn't figure this out. Like, I thought we were, or we meant a little bit more to each other. Like, you're supposed to be my brother. You're supposed to be the woman I spend my life with. Like, why couldn't we figure this out? And I think it goes to that word commitment, where, you know, it's almost a lost art. And I've been blessed to see marriages, you know, see 20, 30, 40 years of marriage. And it doesn't mean that it came easy. And it doesn't mean that they didn't go through whatever it is, but today they still stand together. And whatever it looks like, it could be romantically, they're in love still, or hey, this is the arrangement, this is the partnership, this is how we set our lives up, and we're going to make it work. Like, whatever variation, there took a certain level of commitment to get there. And I think today, you know, we don't value it, and we don't nurture it, and we don't practice it, and we don't have many examples of it, right? We look at Instagram and social media for couple goals because of the luxury that it comes with, right? The Hoves, the Bees, the Michelle, the Obamas, you know, like, these are couple goals because of the status. But nobody really talks about some of the commitments that,
the
you
trials
know,
and
it kind of
tribulations.
takes. And even, like, I know this is kind of like, it was a Will and Jada, that was like the butt of everybody's jokes maybe a year or 2 years ago, right? But that took a commitment to get through that, because a lot of people could have folded. A lot of people, you know, could have allowed that to separate what they have arranged. There was a ton of speculation on their situation for years, right? But it takes some certain level of commitment to even get to where they are.
And this speaks to, I think, a part of commitment that a lot of people gloss over because it's the hardest part of commitment. It's not being committed to somebody can easily turn into tolerating. And I think the most important part of the idea of commitment, especially in a romantic relationship, is the commitment to bettering yourself. You cannot be committed to somebody without it turning into tolerating and resentment if you aren't also working on you and committed to you and committed to who you are as a person so that you could show up, like Antionette had said, the best version of yourself. And I think that a lot of people gloss over that because that's the hard work.
That's the clip. All right, that's the bar.
But that's the hard work. That is the hardest work in commitment, is to look in the mirror and say, I'm not showing up the way I wish my partner will show up for me. And then they get upset and they take that out on their partner and they want to quit and throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's another level of self-awareness that someone has to have in order to be. Did you hear what you just said? I'm not showing up the best way for me. Like you have to know that about yourself. And so many people, unfortunately, default to victim. This is happening to me. They're doing this. And a lot of times we don't even see how we're projecting onto people in our lives, and the things that we're so angry with other folks about are the very things that we're doing.
Yes,
that we're guilty of.
100%. And this goes back to shadow work, like you had referenced, who we are, our base ourselves, but also a commitment to who we want to be and recognizing that in the moment. And when we do get upset at our partner, when we say things, right? I'm gonna go back to the being on this show and how it affected me. I have looked at some of the TikTok videos and some of the comments in those videos, and I'm talking about hordes of men talking about, leave her, she's cheating, she doesn't care about you, you deserve better, right? Comments like that. Yeah, thousands of comments in that realm. But here's the thing, is that I don't feel that way. It doesn't affect me, because I recognize, I have the full context, obviously, also of the situation, but also I also recognize everyone that's saying those things are projecting. Those are the folks that maybe haven't been in situations where they love someone enough, and they don't love themselves enough to recognize that they need to show up a certain way to also expect someone else to show up a certain way. How can I expect my partner to show up in full-bodied intimacy with me if I am not providing a safe space for her, even when I think I am, right? That's the fucking hardest part.
Right.
The hardest part is there's the things you know, there are the things you don't know, right? You know that you don't know, and there are the things that you don't know you don't know. And that's the fucking work. That's the commitment to being a student of your own emotions. And a lot of people ignore that part of commitment because it's the part that's the hardest, the part where you have to look in the mirror and you have to say, I don't like me right now. Because this isn't how I would want to be treated, or this isn't the space that I want to cultivate for myself or for the people that I love, and I want them to cultivate the better energy for me. And you have to realize that. And that's the hardest part of being committed and being in a committed relationship, is when you realize things aren't going my way, it's because you aren't giving someone else the space they need to show up the way you need.
In addition, it's also, hey, my ego isn't big enough for me to think I know everything that's going on and that everything is about me.
Yes.
My partner might be dealing with something that I have no idea that they're dealing with. They might be dealing with something that they don't have the words for. They don't even know how to express that to me.
Yes.
And so this is where the faith and this is where the trust comes in of like, okay, we can talk, we can say, listen, I feel something. I'm not being accusatory. I'm not anything. There's a disconnect somewhere. I want us to get to a different place. I want us to reconnect. I am willing to do what is necessary to do that. And when you know what you need from me, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of patience. And that takes a whole hell of a lot of less ego.
Yes.
And so I don't want you to just think, oh, it's because of me. I'm not, yes, I hear you and your accountability is really beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's also some of the, a lot of times it's some of the other stuff.
Yeah, things that have
as
nothing to do
well.
with me.
Nothing to do with
and
you.
I think we had spoke about this on the podcast before, where I went through therapy, and one of the things that one of my therapists have taught me, a mantra that I use, is mind my business. And that is a huge part of it, is the idea that there are things that are just have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I need to stop imposing my existence on other problems that have nothing to do with me, and to just show up as support.
It's because you want to help.
Yeah, moments where I can show up as a crutch. A crutch is not. It is not the crutch's fault that you have a broken foot, but the crutch can show up and help you up.
Yeah.
And I need to show up as a crutch in those moments. Yeah, you have a broken foot emotionally. There may be something going on that triggered you. There may be something that's difficult. But all the crutch does is just exist. And if you need to get somewhere, I'll be there to lean on. And I think a lot of people, myself included, oftentimes have this ego where they're like, it got to be because of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did I do? What is it that about me that's creating the situation?
And it especially if your partner doesn't know what the issue is, or your partner is unwilling to talk about the disconnect, then your brain starts to wander. And then
Spin the narratives.
and then it's the narratives of like, it is definitely about me. Not only is it about me, but it's about every bit of me that I am insecure about. And this is why they are acting this way. And I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose out.
And I spoke about that on the show. Like that exact
haven't watched it.
situation.
When you mention ego, it works both ways, because, when I show up and I try to be, committed in the situation, I think my ego shows up where I feel like I can fix somebody. Right. So it's not necessarily a crutch. A crutch is supposed to assist you.
Yeah.
Where, I kind of take on the burden of, no, I'm going to nurture you to where you need to be at the expense of myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the dark side, or the other side of commitment, is, knowing when to let go.
Yeah.
Knowing when something is just not for you. And no matter how bad you want it to work out, and again, I don't want to just focus on relationships. It could be anything, but no matter how bad you want it to work out, some things just aren't for you. And I think that's the side of commitment that we don't really discuss.
Yeah.
And it's painful at times, because you feel like, hey, I want to practice being there for somebody. I want to practice, or I want to build. Like, that's kind of a theme in my life, right? I want to build, whether it be a legacy, whether it be wealth, whether it be, in a relationship, my family, whatever it is. Building is kind of what I do when I insert myself into a situation. And so if you can't be committed to someone or something, how can you really build, is my thought process. And so I'm willing to take the punches, take the brunt of whatever negativity comes my way, because I'm like, yo, I'm going to be committed to this, and to the point that it breaks me.
Yeah.
And it affects me.
And that's another thing, is that what you're describing is where commitment turns destructive, right? Like, and that's
my middle name.
But that's where that's why the word tolerance I used earlier, like where you're tolerating something, is that creates resentment, that creates bitterness.
That's a betrayal of yourself.
Yeah.
That's not even a commitment.
But I think
that's a complete betrayal of yourself and your needs.
But it's also disguised as, and it's entered as a commitment.
Culturally.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
For sure, I feel
nobody's going to think about it. I do the
Exactly,
same thing, which is
exactly.
why I'm saying that. I've had someone say, oh, you betray yourself in the name of commitment and love. Heard you. There's a Band-Aid of this is so me. Band-Aid for your heart. There's an Instagram called that. I love it. And I saved this, and he puts these quotes up in balloons. And it says, I once loved someone so much that I tried to fix them while they were breaking me. And that's essentially it. It's like, you can't love somebody back to life. It's impossible for you to do. And I always describe it as trying to wrap your arms around a wall. You can't get them around it, but you try so hard. And SaVon, I am absolutely guilty. And when I was in therapy, it was very frustrating for me to hear that was my ego. And I was like, no, that's my love. I'm this committed. Like, you don't see? Like, I'm great. I'm a great person. I'm not egotistical. I'm not this. I'm not that. It took me a long time to understand what my therapist was saying. Like,
Yeah.
do you hear how it's all, I'm this, I can do it, I can
Mhm.
fix this person, I'm
Yeah.
such a great lover. You really haven't mentioned much about that person.
Yeah.
You've really mentioned only about yourself and what you're capable
The
of.
value you.
And your ego is that big that you feel like, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a good heart. It doesn't
Yeah.
make you a bad person. Your intentions are pure, but your ego is so big that you end up betraying yourself and hurting yourself in the process.
The lens is specific. Sometimes we have to change it. You know,
Yeah.
we look through the lens of ourselves, and sometimes it becomes self-centered, and that happens. We're human beings.
Yeah.
It's natural for us to put ourselves in the center of every situation, but I think the evolution comes when you can say, okay, I'm gonna take off this lens for a moment, and I'm gonna put on the lens of my partner or my friend or the people who I'm serving or whatever the situation is. And I think I also think that there's a fine line between the level of commitment you were describing and codependency. You know, I think that like there's this, and what you were
Got all the
describing too.
codependency books,
I'm not
honey.
gonna lie to you. My therapist told me that I was codependent.
I
Yeah.
have the best book for you.
No, please, I don't accept that. I don't accept it.
But
I
you
don't,
are
like-
He's
what you
not-
described as codependency.
He's not ready
I'm
yet.
not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No,
ready.
I'm telling you, I have the best book for you.
What is it?
Please.
Tell us.
I have to look
I'm
it
sure
up.
the listeners want to
I'll go. Hold on.
look it up, and
Very
I'll
good.
go on this soliloquy real quick for
Okay.
SaVon. My bad. But no, seriously, what you're describing is to me sounds like codependency, because it's the idea of my value is in what I can offer this person, and if I can't solve their problem, then my value is degraded. So you're chasing finding that value within this person. You're dependent on this person to give you value based on the outcome that they can provide. I'm going to solve their problem. That means that I'm valuable to them. I'm problem solving.
Yeah.
Problem is with something like that is that not only are you being codependent and you're looking for validation through another person, but you're also, or you can also infantilize another person. Now imagine as a grown adult, somebody's telling you that you're the solution to their problems.
Yeah.
It can very easily turn into like, you're treating me like I'm a kid,
Yeah.
you know, and that's, I speak from experience. This is what I have done in my relationship, and it creates a space that's not safe. Think about it. When you were a teenager and your parents are talking to you like you're a kid, you don't want to share with them. Why would you?
Yeah.
Because it's not an equal situation. You feel more like this person is judging you, looking down on you. They think they know better. It's not safe, right? And that's why it's just a cycle. The codependency, infantilizing your partner, it's this cycle of like, I just want to help you, but you're just making me feel small. I just want to help you. You're making me feel, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's something that might bring you value to explore. It helped me tremendously to just look in the mirror and be like, what the fuck are you doing, Josh?
For sure.
You know, you care about this person.
I think for the first time in a very long time, if not ever, I've decided to try to be committed to myself. Now, I know it sounds very cliche and very generic, but it's the truth. I've taken time to kind of slow down and kind of focus on me, pour into me.
Yeah.
I've been trying to pour into everybody else, from family, friends, relationships, failed relationships, whatever you want to call it. This is the first time where I'm really actually trying to kind of pour into me, and the commitment is to myself, thyself. And I think we don't associate committing to, or the word commitment, to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think when we hear commit, it's in a service role.
Yeah.
I'm going to commit to going to work. I'm going to commit to the gym. I'm going to commit to starting this business. It's not, I'm going to commit to being the best version of myself, or, improving myself. And I think that's one of the ways that I would like to implement commitment into my life,
Yeah.
is saying I'm going to do something, sticking to it,
Following
holding
through.
myself accountable, right? You
Yeah.
guys held me accountable. I need to hold myself accountable in certain regards, So I think the word commitment should also, if anybody can take away something from the episode, like, commit to yourself too, not
Yeah.
just to people and things and activities and groups, because we lack that. We don't get taught that. I was never sat down and somebody said, hey, I want you to do something for you today.
Yeah.
I've never been told that in my life, not in elementary school, not in pre-K, not by my parents, not by my teachers, my professors, my friends. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
So I have to self-commit to me in order to get those results that, you rarely find, you rarely see.
It's true. And the only time we ever do hear about the idea of committing to yourself is usually through fitness.
Yeah,
like losing weight,
for sure.
your body.
And that's where it started for me.
Yeah.
That was the indicator. I think I came to y'all top of the year.
Yeah.
I said, yo, I'm looking at myself on these clips. I hate it. I don't want to promote it. I can't even stand me. I don't like me. I
Yeah.
don't like me right now.
And that's the issue, is that oftentimes that commitment is rooted in shame as opposed to being rooted in growth. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think that, like, again, that could be shifted, because a commitment should be something that you do because you love wherever the root of that is, right? I love this person. I love myself. I'm committed. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily where you may be coming from, but it can be a driving factor. Don't get me wrong. Shame is a very strong motivator sometimes.
Absolutely. Shame,
you know, but
heart,
it's...
all that.
I mean, it's a strong motivator. I feel like objectively it can be. It's just not a healthy motivator. You know,
can be. It can be.
It can lead to a healthy outcome in some
Absolutely.
situations.
And I wish, there was different wording around New Year's resolutions. We should make New Year's commitments.
Yeah.
Let's commit to something. Let's not have a resolution that's gonna fade out.
Yeah.
If you stay committed to something, you're automatically gonna hold yourself accountable to it.
Yeah.
You know, I went into the year, I'm going to commit to my health.
Yeah.
I
dig that.
You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, 100%.
I wish that it wasn't such a fad, and maybe we can go back to capitalism, because it's just easy to market, a New Year's resolution. Oh yeah, we got this gym deal.
Well, self-hate is how they motivate you to spend money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So exactly, like, if we kind of just change the wording a little bit, like, I'm gonna have a New Year's.
It needs a brand refresh.
That's it.
Yeah.
A recommitment to yourself.
Yeah, a recommitment. Let me recommit to something.
Yeah.
The book that I want to he's gonna hate this so much. I'm not ready. But it is so good, and I'm looking for a quote. This book changed my life. Seriously. I read this book, and I used to send excerpts to my friend group. I used to send excerpts, and I'll never forget, and I'll name drop here. Jasmine Sullivan, I sent it to her, and she was like, bitch, I gotta write this.
write a song.
And she was like, no. She was like, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
And we all bought the book. Them hoes didn't finish reading it with an X, hoes with an X. I'm trying to be respectful. They didn't finish reading it, but they started, and like, we were talking about it, and we were all like, oh my God, we have so much work to do. Like, we were really activated in that way. And I really want you to read it, but you have to know, don't just forget the gender.
Okay.
Okay. But it is, the name of the book is For Women Who Love Too Much. And When You Keep Wishing and Hoping They'll Change. Okay. It has nothing to do with women. Okay. It's not specific to women.
That's a Steve Harvey ass title.
Well, it's written by Robin Norwood, and it's not any kind of like, this is how you gonna get yourself a man, girl. It's not that.
The hoping and wishes change was the reason why I said it.
So yeah, I know, but it's really like, you hope and wish he'll change, and it's kind of like trying to make it provocative for you to buy the book.
I get it.
But it is all about your self-work. It is all about, like, and you talked about not being committed to yourself. Yeah. You also talked about with your family. She talks about, most people who are codependent in this way came from households, most likely, that were a little bit unstable, even though they might have been loving. And so you were taught to, I either have to become invisible, I have to be good and fix it. Yeah. And a lot of children try to be good and fix it to calm things down. And I hear you talk so much about, I got to do this for my family. I got to be this. I got to be that. And you fix it. Yeah. And so, of course, that's going to translate into your relationships, where subconsciously we might even look for people to fix, because our identity is so deeply rooted in being Mr. and Mrs. Fixer-Upper.
Yo, y'all just read me for filth.
But me too.
Relax.
No,
but me
y'all
too.
are doing
I think we're coming from
Relax.
experience.
Right,
I think
that's
what
why
it is.
I see you, because
on me, queen.
Listen,
Damn,
baby, I'm still working through it now. Because the last couple people I done dated, tricky.
This is like a 12-step meeting, and we have our tokens. You know what I mean?
I wish I had it so I could just read, because the book is like underlined. It's been through. It looks like it's been in a dumpster. It's been with me through so much. I need to buy a new one, but y'all keep talking. I'm going to find a fire ass quote and read it now. Okay.
I'm going to find a quote.
I'm going to find it.
The whole idea of commitment, everything that we're talking about here, I do think about, like, school is one of the things that I think about the most. I've been very, very heavily, like, in my academics, like really studying, working on these papers. And I was talking about this on the way here, that I've been needing to not motivate myself, but to solidify that I am going to do this. I am going to do it. And I was saying how I would go on YouTube or on Instagram or on TikTok, and I would look up graduation ceremonies, and I would just watch them because I don't know what that is. I've never experienced it. And I'm like, I just want to see what it looks like because I'm going to do that one day. And I think that sometimes when we make a commitment, we need a motivator to tell us like, no, this is why I'm committed. This is why it's important to me to be committed to this particular thing, because I have a goal and I want to reach that goal. I want to attain that goal. And whether that be like fitness, like having a vision board, like I know a huge thing for me when I did lose the amount of weight that I lost, and obviously I've gained it back now, but when I was like really feeling great, I actually had a photo of a man who had a body that I wanted to attain. And what I would do is every once in a while, I'd be like, this person is built similar to me, similar height. They look like me a little bit. And I'm like, that's the kind of body that I want to hopefully attain. And every once in a while, I would just tap in and I would look at it. And I would be like, all right, that's the goal. Like, I want to try to achieve that, you know?
You know that scene in White Chicks?
Which one?
Where one of the Wayans brothers takes a girl to Terry Crews's house. And he tried to act like it was his home, but it was really Terry Crews's, and he had his picture ass naked on the wall, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to be that one day." Like, she like, "Why do you have this naked man?" Like, yeah, that's what I just thought of. Like, yeah,
but it's almost like it is that reminder. Like I wanna, and it would be on my phone every once in a while when I was like in the midst of like working out every day, trying to eat clean. I would just look at it and be like, all right, I want to achieve something like that, and I think that if you were to give yourself an idea of what you hope to achieve, the vision needs to be strong, whether that be in your romantic relationships, your friendships, your fitness, your emotional intelligence, whatever it is. Have an idea, a model that you can go after, right? Someone that may have reached where you want to reach, or someone, and even a mentor. See if you could reach out to someone. How did you do it? How did you get there? How did you lose the weight? How did you get healthier? How did you lower your blood pressure? You said that you have marriages that you see around you that are healthy. Ask them. That's one of the most beautiful things about life is that we can communicate and we can be like, how did you do it? What give me some secrets. What did you do to achieve the relationship that you currently have? And I think that that's a huge part of also letting go of your ego and not sticking to like what culture tells you is not okay and what not society tells you it's not okay. Like communicating and talking and asking questions and being willing to be vulnerable and weak, and like through that show strength and empower yourself with knowledge, information, wisdom from others. And I think that for me was one of the biggest factors in me making the decision to work on my relationship, to commit to my relationship. There were no boundaries crossed. There was nothing that happened that was a deal breaker for me. So what reason was there for me to not be patient? What reason was there for me to not figure it out and to not look at myself? And I think there's like a selfishness to it too, like of commitment, where you're like, I can be better, because you don't want to drag your baggage into another relationship or another problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's shit is super important, man.
Was there ever a moment where you felt the commitment being tested during the show?
Oh, during the show?
Yeah, during the recording of the show. Was there ever a moment?
100%. I mean,
Really?
there are moments. I mean, it's an.
What did you hone in on when you felt that?
So there are moments in my relationship where I'm like, I don't know. And like, especially in that point in time, like before, if I can, I'm going to backtrack before we actually started couples therapy, because it was a crescendoing moment, what led to us deciding to go to couples therapy. And I was just at a point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I can't. Right. And I almost proposed an ultimatum. Like, we have to seek some kind of intermediary to help us, because I don't know how to solve this problem. You don't know how to solve this problem. And there's not many options at that point. You know, like we obviously aren't doing well at communicating our way out of this. So we may need someone that can translate. And I think that's a point where I was like ready to give it up, like ready to quit. And I think when you say what did I hone in on, I think what I honed in on, and it's selfish, but and this is before I really understood the breadth of commitment and what it meant to me. But I think what helped me leap over and finally find myself in that pool of understanding is that I needed to do it for me. I needed to not quit on something. I needed to not just run away, because it's easy. It's really easy to just be like, yeah, this ain't what I want. Peace, And it's like, and it's just, what are you leaving behind? What you care about this person. You said words to this person that means something.
Yeah.
And they said those words to you, and we're here. What are we doing? Like, we're just gonna throw away all of the gravity of the commitment, the words, the beauty, the good memories, the good times, because of just we can't see eye to eye right now.
But see, that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets dangerous for me. Let me talk to my experience, because that is where I try to hold on to whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Because I think of the gravity, I think of the impact, I think of, like one thing, a theme of mine in my therapy sessions is, I am afraid of not being able to connect. Right? I have deep-rooted trust issues in friendships, relationships, business, everywhere. My trust issues are all over. And so when I do actually capture a connection, I want to hold on to it.
Yeah.
I want to keep it forever. Like, this is once every 100 people is what I told my therapist.
Yeah.
And everything that you just said is why I have committed to bad situations, and I just want to be careful when we frame it that way, because, there's people like myself who have stood in relationships or situationships, whatever, at the detriment of themselves and the other person.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, I know somebody probably feels the same way about me. I'm not like, it's not just, hey, victim man over here.
Yeah.
Like, it happens when you feel that impact or that connection with someone. So I agree with everything that you just said. But I also want to give a different perspective.
And I appreciate
I'm
that.
like, God damn, everything he just said, I felt that.
Yeah.
But I had to still walk away because that shit wasn't good for me.
So let me kind of clarify, I think, the difference in what one is rooted in versus what I was rooted in that moment, because I've been there. I've held on to toxic relationships because I was rooted in fear. I was afraid that I was afraid of the pain of what it would be to lose that relationship or that connection, and that oftentimes would keep me somewhere because I was afraid of the consequence. I think in my current relationship, it's not rooted in fear anymore. It's more rooted in who I want to be. I don't want to be somebody that gives up on a relationship because I'm not able to communicate properly, or I'm not patient with somebody.
Not fear-based.
It's not coming from fear anymore. And I think that's the difference, is that when I was rooted in fear, I would hold on to things even when I knew that it was never going to solve, the problem was never going to be solved. But also, when you're rooted in fear, you often will find yourself in more unhealthy situations because you can't communicate properly.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about it. If somebody ran in here with a gun right now, could you form a sentence? You'd be like, oh, fuck, what the fuck, right? Like, you can't really be coherent. It's the same thing emotionally. If you're rooted in fear, can you really communicate your feelings articulately? Can you really eloquently explain what it is that you're feeling? Probably not, because you're in a place of trying to salvage versus in a place trying to grow. And I think that's the difference, is that when I looked at my relationship in that moment, I definitely was in a place of desperation. 100%. But I think the desperation was rooted in love, in patience,
and self-actualization,
and recognizing that I know who I wanted to be, and I know what I want from this relationship, and I know that I love my partner, and that I'm here for her, and that maybe I wasn't showing up the best.
Can I read a couple things out loud? Let's raise our hand if they apply to us.
Okay.
Specifically you and me.
Well, we would have to give an audio cue.
I be getting left out.
No, or you too. I said specifically, but you as well.
Fuck with you.
Typically, you come from a dysfunctional home in which your emotional needs were not met.
No.
Having
Y'all
received,
have to like indicate.
oh, ding,
Yeah,
yes.
say yay or nay.
Ding, ding,
because they
ding.
can't
Having
see
received
us.
little, a real nurturing, emotional nurturing of yourself, you try to fill this unmet need vicariously by becoming a caregiver, especially to partners who appear in some way needy.
Yay.
Ding.
Yay for me.
It's a mixed bag for me.
Okay. Because you were never able to change your parents into warm, loving caregivers that you longed for, you respond deeply to the familiar type of emotionally unavailable partner whom you can try to change through your love. Yes.
It's also a mixed bag for me.
Yay.
Terrified of abandonment, you will do anything to keep a relationship from dissolving. Yes.
Yes.
That once resonated with me.
Yes.
Almost nothing is too much trouble, takes too much time, or is too expensive if it will help the partner that you are involved with.
Ding, ding, ding. That
Yes.
definitely
Yes.
sits with me. Yeah.
I'll drop a bag on you. What you need?
Accustomed to the lack of love in personal relationships, you're willing to wait, hope, and try harder to please. Yes.
100%.
Nah.
You are willing to take far more than 50% of the responsibility, guilt, and blame in any relationship. Yes.
Yes.
It depends who you ask.
Your I'm asking you.
Well, no.
Your self-esteem is critically low, and deep inside, you do not believe you deserve to be happy. Rather, you believe you must earn the right to be happy and enjoy life and love. Yes.
That
Yeah.
speaks to past me.
You said yes? You have a desperate need to control your partner and your relationships, having experienced little security in your childhood, emotional security, whatever, financial, all the things. You mask your efforts to control people and situations as being helpful. Yes.
That is my shadow's right there. You speaking to him.
Yeah, my
I be working.
I want to say no, but probably yes.
Yeah, I definitely, I fight those demons every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a relationship, you are much more in touch with your dream of how it could be than the reality of your situation. Yes.
No.
Yeah, I'm a visionary, so I see it before it actually.
You are addicted to partners that enact emotional pain.
Oh, I love
I
that
hope
shit.
not. You love it?
I
Okay.
come here.
I don't, that's an interesting one.
You may be
I was that partner.
You may be predisposed emotionally and often biochemically to becoming addicted to drugs, alcohol, and certain foods, particularly sugary ones.
No.
Yes.
Food, definitely.
Food.
Heroin ain't my thing.
No.
Food, though.
Food?
I'm
Yeah.
not a sugary guy. I'm not sugary.
He's saying he ain't sweet.
By being drawn to people with problems that need fixing, or by being enmeshed in situations that are chaotic, uncertain, and emotionally painful, you avoid focusing on your responsibility to yourself.
That's past me. I don't do that no more.
I'm actively working through that.
No. You may have a tendency towards episodes of depression, which you try to forestall through the excitement provided by an unstable relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. You are not attracted to a partner who is kind, stable, reliable, and interested in you. You find nice partners boring.
I am that fucking partner now.
It's okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I said to myself, nah, keep going.
That's it. That's the last one.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
So I would say no now. I am with the shits, but that's all from that book that I was talking about, and I think that you should
You
read
think I
it.
should? Yeah. I think I should too, as a matter of fact.
And I answered as previous me, not me now, hopefully, but some of the chapters, because SaVon's getting to it, and I think it's really beautiful that codependency came up when we talked about commitment, because
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing. But a couple of the chapter titles are The Need to Be Needed, If I Suffer for You, Will You Love Me? When One Addiction Feeds Another, Dying for Love, and Good Sex and Bad Relationships.
Oh, that's the best.
See?
Oh my God.
He said, I'm not codependent.
No, I said I was.
They go hand in hand,
but of course.
right?
Working
The
through
idea of commitment, and codependency go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. You know, it was just natural for us to come across this particular
because
topic.
we
'Cause,
conflate the two,
yeah.
and they're not the same thing at all. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you got to what your commitment is now rooted in, and it's not rooted in fear. It's rooted in love. It's rooted in possibility. It's rooted
Yeah.
in you being the best version of yourself. And honestly, it sounds like a freedom.
Oh, it can be. Definitely. It feels way better than like being in past relationships and holding on because I'm afraid of what it means to let it go. I think that but it's a everyday, it's work. Because some days you are working on a relationship and you're like, man, I feel hopeless. And then some days you're like, I felt hopeless because I need to work on what it is that's important to me. And also, and this is where I think, again, the codependency, conflating the commitment and codependency thing is, as long as you have hard boundaries and you understand what those are, then the idea of commitment shouldn't be as daunting, because you stay within those confines. You say, nothing has happened here that is for me to want to drop this. Nothing has happened. And eh, if I decide that this is too much, that's where you have to separate the difference between, am I, catastrophizing this? Am I being an alarmist and taking this moment and making it larger than what it actually is because my emotional capacity is at its, am I pouring into myself? Is my cup empty? And that's why I'm reacting this way. It's a really complex.
For a codependent person, it's very hard
Yes.
to identify those boundaries.
Yeah.
You're just like, I got to do more.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work because, all right, using myself as an example here is that, let's say me and my partner are having a particularly difficult week and I feel like that we aren't connecting. And what happens is I tend to find myself asking the same question every fucking hour on the hour. Is everything all right? Are you okay? You seem upset, right?
That could be annoying.
It's very fucking annoying.
Could be
I'm aware
annoying.
of it.
Okay.
So,
I'll
but
be like, damn,
now here's the thing.
no.
This is something that I have to recognize within myself in those moments, is my intuition can be picking up on something, but I'm projecting my fear in that moment onto my partner, and my partner is going to pick up on that, whether she's conscious of it or not. And that's going to make her clam up. Why would you want to share with someone who's sharing with you and asking you because they're projecting? They're projecting.
Absolutely.
And that may
from
be
a
making
place of fear.
and that maybe could be making her feel guilty. Because let's say if she is feeling something, but now she's like, oh my God, is my feelings making this person feel bad? Now I can't express that because I don't want to actualize that. I don't want to make that real for them.
Yeah.
And these are things that, I mean, I'm being nuanced about this because it is these little idiosyncratic moments that compile and create larger problems. And you need to catch them right at the time it's happening. Okay, let me not ask that, because I realize that right now what's happening is that I'm feeling a little insecure. Why am I feeling insecure? I didn't go to the gym this week. I haven't been taking care of my mental health. I had some commitments that I had outside of my relationship that maybe I didn't follow through on. I have some work I have to do at work. I have some work I have to do at school. And all of these things are actually affecting the way that I show up in my relationship. And there needs to be a sort of checklist to who I am and how I'm showing up in the world. And since I've began doing that, I show up better because I'm projecting less. And instead of, before I ask that question, what I ask myself is, how am I feeling? How are you doing? Is everything okay with you? And then I answer that to myself. And if there's some things that they're unmet needs that are external from my relationship, I work on meeting those. Yeah. And then once I ask that, if I ask myself that question, I say, if I feel compelled to ask my partner, is everything okay? Before I ask that question, if I ask myself the questions and I'm like, no, I took care of everything, then I ask. Because I realize maybe I'm not projecting here. Maybe there is something that I'm picking up on, right?
Do you ever say, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because everything okay implies that something's not.
There's something wrong. Yeah.
How are you feeling?
That's anxiety.
How are you?
It's an anxiety. And I think
How was your day?
Yeah, I definitely do that.
Anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
I just want to show you that I
Here's the thing, though.
love you.
When you build a history of questions being a form of anxiety, no matter how that question comes out and no matter what the wording that's used, it's received the similar way. So it's work.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
work.
like it.
Y'all
Because if
gotta
I show
unlearn
up,
some things.
yeah, I mean, imagine it. Imagine if someone's asking you that over and over again for months, and then all of a sudden the verbiage changes. Like, bitch, this is the same thing, just showing up in a different way, motherfucker. Like, and this is just me being super real with myself,
Yeah.
right? And that's the only thing I can do. I'm not gonna come on here and talk about my partner's habits. I'm talking about mine because that's how I show up. And I think I do it because I just want to illustrate how small it is, how really small. Like these little moments. People do things and don't realize that they're doing them. They're
Yeah,
unconscious habits.
if my partner asked me all the time, "Is everything okay? Is everything okay?" I would feel the need to perform that everything was okay to
Yes,
put them at ease. I would
exactly.
feel that immediately.
And then when in that moment, emotionally, when do you get a chance to actually work on you? If you're constantly
It's
feeling like you're
exhausting, and I'd probably get resentful of it. Like,
exactly, exactly.
but also, if everything's not okay, I gotta
Communicate
say
it.
it too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my point is again, I'm sharing the way I show up in my relationship and the way that I have. I've improved, but these are the ways that I was showing up in my relationship that was not conducive to intimacy, that was not conducive to safety, and that I had to be aware of that. And it's hard to be aware of that because it shows up in different ways. This is how it showed up for me. It could be showing up completely different for somebody else. So you just have to. It's a game of working on you. Who are you? What are your habits?
Yeah.
Ask yourself those questions. And the way that I've learned to pick up on it is differentiating the difference between a negative feeling and a positive feeling. And when you feel a negative feeling, stop. What is that? What am I feeling?
Yeah.
Sit in the silence. Why am I feeling it? What caused that? What triggered it?
Josh, you better school us.
I,
Gonna be booed up in like a month. Watch.
I want to implore everybody to go watch the show. Because I do want to ask you something, and I hope it's not too intrusive, but you kind of put your life out there.
Our relationship's on Showtime.
I know, I was about to say, so
Yeah.
I might as well just go for
Somebody
it.
give me their blog.
But
I got you.
you know, without spoiling anything, where are you today? How much has that experience helped? Has it helped? What are some of the things that you maybe didn't apply? Like, where are you today, you know, removed from the show?
So the couples therapy itself, I think, expanded both of our toolbox. Before, we had a very limited set of tools to use in our relationship in order to communicate and work with each other. And I think going through couples therapy helped the way that we work through our problems, because before we would pull from what we knew.
Yeah.
And it was very limited. You know, it was limited in whatever individual therapy we may have done or whatever toxic habits that we picked up from, childhood and past relationships. And couples therapy gave us this unbiased perspective from Orna, who's the Orna Gerlinick, who's the therapist in the show. And she helped us recognize when we needed to pause and kind of just, okay, what is it that's happening here? What is it that you're saying? Not what I'm hearing. It's different. What I'm hearing and what you're saying, two different things. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we took away from couples therapy is to stop putting ourselves onto each other. So that's the answer to that. Like what we got from it. I think another thing we got from it is that we recognize that our problems are not that bad. That we are not unfixable. We are not these broken toys that need to be abandoned. We're people that went through things and that have experienced trauma, and we're beautiful for those exact experiences. And we learn to appreciate each other in those ways. And that despite the fact that there are things that my partner will do that will make me feel bad, that's not her fault. And if it is something that she did, that we can hold each other accountable to those things. But we know that we're always rooted in love, that we care about each other, and we're committed to each other. And and that was, I think, the most important thing that I've gotten from couples therapy is that we were both there. We showed up and we were willing to do the work. And that means a lot to me because it helps me recognize that there's love there. And sometimes it's very easy to forget that and to start to feel like you're not loved and that your partner isn't thinking about you and is thinking about themselves. But then when you get into a room like that, you're like, oh no, you think about me a lot and you're very considerate of me. It's just showing up in ways that I'm not receiving it. And I think that was super important for us. And we're in a much better place. In a much better place in terms of our communication styles are kind of starting to blend a bit better. Our patience is a lot better with each other, but we're works in progress, like any relationship.
There was a theme on the show, and maybe I won't talk about your storyline, because I do want people to watch it. Antionette, you haven't watched it.
I need a login.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have a login for you.
Please.
Yeah, just remind me.
Drop
I'll
the bag. You
seriously-
said you dropped the fucking bag. Let's go.
I'll definitely send you that, but just to kind of be surfaced, your theme, your storyline, has that improved?
Um, it's better.
Got it.
Yeah, I think
You teed that up. Ooh, everybody want to go watch it now. Like, what the hell are they
It's-
talking about?
it's interesting, man. It's a great question. It's improved, but I also think that it's a lot more than just that one thing. And the things, trying to be as vague as possible, but the idea of everything that encompasses that particular aspect of our relationship are improving. And I think ultimately what's going to happen is as we continue to do the work, it's just only going to get better.
It's beautiful. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for opening that up.
No problem.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Fully committed to yourself.
I'm trying.
Let 'em
In
know
the
one more time
schools,
where they can
doing
find
your
it,
things.
where they can find the show.
Yeah, couples therapy on Showtime.
What season is it?
It is season 3, part 2. Showtime gets a free trial of 7 days. Binge that shit. Your free trial. Just start a free trial.
7 days. How
Yeah.
many episodes? That's
It's 9.
a little. Oh wow.
Yeah.
You can get it done. I got it done
You can get it
fairly
done.
quick. Like, and you will get hooked. You will get
Yeah.
emotionally invested.
Yeah.
You will
I
see
heard that
yourself
there's
in
a couple
some.
people that are gonna infuriate me, but
Yeah.
okay, I gotta be ready.
100%.
Yeah.
Phil,
Yeah.
SaVon can give me the.
I ain't gonna front.
I'ma
Watching.
give it to you.
Yo,
I can't get your login,
I
King.
told you I got you.
I
I'ma give it
gotta
to you.
sign into. I can share. I remember watching the show, like, cause we got access to it before it released. Watching it, and me and Tosh were both on there. Like, we ain't that bad.
I love that.
Cause he like
During the film,
Babe,
you
we
don't know
alright.
what everybody else is
no
going
idea.
through, right?
No,
You don't
no.
know.
You have to understand.
Do you even
like,
know the other couples? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm just like
no.
taking this shit
I
over.
wanna be super clear. Like,
Yeah.
it's therapy.
It's therapy.
It's therapy. You don't see a camera.
You're not a cast.
No,
It's not like,
no.
oh,
You
this is the
don't see a
couples therapy
No,
camera.
cast.
you never see a camera.
So you go in for your therapy session, and all of a
That's it.
sudden there's an edit, and you're like,
That's it.
"What?"
The closest you get. Well, I work in that industry, so like there's certain aspects that I kind of have an understanding of. But literally, we showed up. They would have a babysitter that would stay with the kids,
Oh,
and it was in their production offices, but it was like it looked like a WeWork. Like it was just a conference room, and then a producer would walk us to an office building with a door. We'd walk in, it'd be a hallway, and we were done. That was it. We walk into an office.
you just walked into your session.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You only seen cameras when we did B-roll. Like a camera operator came to my house and shot B-roll in our house, and that was cool. That was it.
Oh.
Other than that, you do not see cameras. And then the producers aren't even like they're not producing in the traditional sense. They're not talking to you about content. They're not like, so today we need you to really cry for us, okay? No, none of that. It's more like, how are you feeling? How are things? How's the kids? Are they good? How's school? And that was it. Like they're like those are the homies now.
So,
Yeah, we be
That's what's
talking
up.
on IG. Like
shout
they
out
cool.
to the authenticity. I love
It's
it.
very, very much so.
Dope.
It was a good experience.
That's beautiful. Make
Yeah.
sure y'all go stream that. And also, if you made it this far in the episode, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel.
Yes.
If you dabbled into couples therapy, I am interested in hearing that. I ran away. I shied away from couples therapy when I had an opportunity to go.
Did
So
you?
look, another reason why I admire you.
Oh,
God damn it!
thank
Just been
you.
fucking thinking about it all episode.
Yo, I just fuck up a lot.
He
That's
chewed
it.
my head off when I said it, but he didn't say it like about 3 times this
Yeah,
episode,
nah,
so
I'm
I
here, I'm
knew
here.
it was real.
But yeah, with that being said, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Can't Afford Therapy podcast. Tune in next week.